How's it going? It's Collegiate Matero here, and today we are doing, yet again, another Yerba mate review. A little different, right? A little more vibrant than what you're used to, I'm sure. Like, what is this? Like a fruity, yes, it is. But it might not be what you think it is. It's not infused with actual dried fruit or like something that, tea is usually, done with. It's flavored with guaraná. Never had guaraná before. I don't think. I think it's like a South American specific fruit, and yeah. But this brand is by CBSé. I don't really exactly know how to say it. Maybe CBSé. I don't know. I've never had this brand's normal yerba mate before. Just normal con palo or sin palo. So maybe I should have had that first, but I saw this and I got excited. I've seen a lot of brands like something similar to this. I think this brand in particular is kind of famous for their flavored yerba mates, such as I think they have lemon, orange, a few others. But yeah, I decided to go with the guarana because the packaging is just cool. And I was interested in this. But this is my first time having a flavored yerba mate ever. So I'm going to open it, give it a smell, and I'll let you guys know what I think. All right, I got it opened. And I kind of just opened this like a carton of milk, similar to, Taragui. It's packaged very similarly. All right, I'm going to take a whiff. Whoa, that's crazy. It literally smells like fruit. Well, let's see if the taste lives up to its smell. I'm gonna pour this, and I'll be right back. So real quick, I just wanted to give you guys show you the cut. And it's really crazy. Like, it really is much more fruity smelling than I thought it would. It obviously doesn't really taste like fresh fruit. I'm assuming it's kind of like use like artificial flavors or something has just been like sprayed on this, which is why I think this is really going to be a one-time thing, because even if I really like it, it's probably it probably just makes it a little bit more bad for you. I must admit, I do have a strong feeling that that the flavor isn't really gonna live up to the expectations that the aroma kind of sets up, just because there's no actual fruit in here. It's literally just looking at it, it looks like just pure yerba, just like normal yerba. The only thing that's different about it is its smell. So I have a feeling it's kind of be like, in a way, how seltzer, it really doesn't really taste like what it says it's going to taste like, except for a little bit, So I'm not really expecting much from this, but we'll see what happens. Cheers. I didn't have my my kettle that I usually can put to a set temperature, and then so if it gets 75, I can just take it off and then pour it. This I had to do on a pan or a pot. Just had to do it to what I thought was the right temperature. So this might be very hot. Not bad at all. Oh wow, interesting. It's incredible. I feel like I said I've never had guarana, but I feel like I've had to, because that background flavor, you know what? It almost resembles pomegranate in a way. Or in the past, I've had raspberry tea or cranberry tea, and it kind of has the same sort of flavor, if you know what I mean? Which is surprising, because I really don't know how they get that in there, because it's so it's just yerba mate with sprayed maybe with guarana, I don't know what, unnatural flavors, artificial, who knows. But yeah, that's really interesting. I definitely am tasting the yerba mate as well. But I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of like a colder sip. I don't think I actually heated it enough. So I think maybe the guarana is probably coming out a little bit more just because it's cold. And I'm sure that this brand is probably typically drank cold more than other yerba mate brands, just because of its fruity attribute. But yeah, this is good. I'm actually kind of surprised. I'll take another sip, or another cycle rather. This sip is obviously a little hotter just since I kind of did these cycles back to back. So I'm still getting the same amount of like flavor of the what's the word, of the guarana, but honestly, it almost like overpowers the yerba in a way, now that I'm thinking about it. So I don't know if that's because maybe CBSE or CBSé is maybe like a less strong of a brand, although I don't think it would be, because a lot of the brands that people suggest for people who just started drinking yerba mate are like Playadito, Cruz de Malta, because they're supposedly not as strong. But honestly, this doesn't and maybe it's just because it's being overpowered by the guarana, but it doesn't really taste very strong at all. Like honestly, if someone were to be trying yerba mate for the first time, I would honestly suggest this over Playadito, or definitely Cruz de Malta, because I don't know, everyone says Cruz de Malta is a brand that you want to try if it's your first time, but that was the first brand I had, and it was too like dirt. It was too like tasted like dirt too much, if you know what I mean. And that might just that very well might have been just because my tongue was sort of like virgin to that to yerba mate, and that's why. But I haven't drinking Cruz de Malta since then. I've drinking Playadito since then, which is my second brand that I liked a lot more. But I don't know. I honest to God think that this would be a much better brand to try if you're a beginner and you don't really want to maybe necessarily hop right into that pure straight yerba mate, and you want to start with maybe something that's a little more familiar. I would definitely go with this because it's definitely a lot more familiar. Thinking back to my, just when I used to just drink normal tea, this is kind of very similar to that because it has that sort of like, it almost tastes like a pomegranate type tea. If you're looking for like, oh, I want to have like yerba mate, but with like maybe like a hint of like fruit, but that I can just like barely taste in the background, this isn't maybe necessarily what you're looking for, because I'd say it is probably stronger, definitely, than I expected. But I also went into it with expecting it to be how I just mentioned it, kind of just like a very, very small hint, but it's really like, it's very much present. I'm gonna rate it like a 7.3, because I think this is like a nice, I don't know, it kind of took me aback because this is my first time having anything that's not, honestly, this is my first time having anything that's not con palo mate. I have had an Uruguayan mate before that was like, I don't know what they call it, but it, it had stems in it. That's what con palo means. It means with stems. But it was definitely more refined and different. But yeah, I've really only had like Argentinian with stem mates before, and this is a with stem mate, but it's it's infused, and I've never had that before. I've also never had ones with like herbs in it, like added in, so I think that might be next as well. But yeah, this is definitely taking a step into a sort of new sector of yerba mate, and I'm glad I did it. So if this sounds like something you're interested in, I would definitely give it a go. The only problem is that you kind of have to buy a bag about this big that's going to last you, if you drink it every day, like a half month. So if you don't want to have it every day, it might kind of be sitting on your shelf for a while if you want to return to your usual normal yerba mate. But yeah, I think it's definitely worth a go. And I think the guarana is definitely a good option if you're looking for flavored yerba mates, just because it's kind of a more familiar tea sort of taste. And I don't know, it was almost a little nostalgic for me personally, because I used to drink raspberry tea a lot and cranberry tea back in the day. So I've been through a couple, well, not a couple, more than a couple, more like maybe definitely over probably about a dozen cycles now, just finishing probably the 13th. And just some notes that I have to say about it. It did actually, like, I'm on the maybe 13th right now, and it's still maintaining its flavor pretty well. So I think it's definitely efficient at, in terms of, longevity, in terms of flavor at least. And I think, like, in the beginning, I kind of mentioned that it was very fruity. It was more fruity than I expected it to be, and it was maybe overpowering the actual taste of the yerba mate. Whereas now I feel like that's less the case, and I feel like the guarana has faded away a bit, and now it's more the yerba. So my guess is that, like, the flavor of the guarana sort of steeps into the earlier cycles more than, like, and then eventually fades away quicker than the actual yerba does. Because now I still have a little bit of guarana, but it's mostly yerba that I'm tasting. So yeah, I guess that's it. Have a good day. Cheers.